This episode is brought to you by Lumina Growth Lab. At Lumina, we help professional learning and development consultants who are struggling with steady lead flow, consistent bottom line revenue, and scalability, so they can finally have healthy margins, make more strategic decisions, and ultimately take their business to the next level. Most of the time, our clients come to us frustrated because nothing seems to work outside of word of mouth and referral-based growth. But with the right strategy and support, they're able to confidently add new channels of lead generation that create sustainable revenue and year-over-year growth for cheaper than ever before because of the use of AI technologies. If that sounds like you or someone you know, connect with me on LinkedIn and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about unlocking your business's potential. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Marketing Matrix. I'm your host, Lisanne Murphy, and I'm very excited to be here. I am joined by the one and only Jon Cheney. Jon, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Lisanne. I'm excited to be here with you.
Guys, I met Jon fairly recently. We connected on LinkedIn, and I've had a more interaction with him than I've had with most. I actually just took a course from him this week, and so I'm really excited to introduce you to this man because I've experienced firsthand recently the impact of what he's doing because I've already started to see it in my own life. And so let me take a second to introduce this incredible man and what he's doing in the world. And I'm just really excited for him to unleash his brilliance for all of you today. So Jon Cheney is a serial entrepreneur, founder of Gen AI PI, and the visionary behind multiple ventures that he's built and sold, raising tens of millions in the process. He's a Class 5 whitewater kayaker and seasoned adventurer, brings that same intensity to the business world. Jon is also a professional composer and concert pianist with several albums to his name, in creativity, grit, and strategy in everything he does. And again, so warm welcome, big round of applause. Again, welcome, Jon. Thank you for coming to the show. Exactly. Let's go.
Thank you again. I'm really excited to be here, Lisanne. And yes, it's been great to obviously hang out with you. For those of you listening, Lisanne and I have spent 4 to 4.5 hours each of the last 2 days, right? So this is 3 days in a row where we're just diving in and talking about really fun things. So
yeah, we're basically besties at this point.
What are we doing tomorrow?
I know, right? What are we doing tomorrow? Yeah, we got to get something on the calendar. I love it.
Sure.
Okay, so for the listeners, Jon, that don't know who you are, like from your own voice, like give us a background of your experience, the type of ventures that you've done, what you're doing right now with Gen AI PI, and the impact that you're seeing, and like why it's so important in the world today. Just kind of give us the scope of who is Jon and what is he doing?
Yeah, well, about 39 years ago, a little baby was born.
Perfect.
So I'm from Houston, Texas originally. Loved growing up there, and lived there until I was about 12. Bounced down to Paraguay. My dad was called as a mission president down there, and so I lived there for 3 years. And then after that, ended up in Utah pretty much, and I served a mission, things like that. But I've from doing living in Paraguay, serving a mission in Taiwan, things like that. I'm fluent in Chinese and Spanish. And so I've had good opportunities to live around the world and see the world and interact with in a lot of different ways. And so I've been very blessed with just opportunities in my life to learn. And amongst all of that, I've always been really interested in new technology, right? Whether it was, the newest computer game when I was younger. I'm still interested in computer games, mostly because I think it's cool to see what they do, although I don't actually have time to play them. I'll spend like $60, like, oh, it's really cool. And I'll play it for 30 minutes and make, okay, I got to get back to work. But I just am really interested in like, where is the tech now, right? And so that led to me founding a company in 2016 in the augmented reality space. And if you recall what happened in 2016, Pokemon Go came out and took the world by storm, about 1 billion users within just a few months. And I saw that and I was like, man, there's something here, right? And I really looked at the augmented reality technology and thought that was pretty cool and decided to start my own company then, raised a bunch of money, ended up raising $13 million for a company called Seek. And we started out actually kind of as a Pokemon Go spinoff, right? It was location based, augmented reality, going around and like using your camera to see stuff in the world, right? And it was all focused on treasure, right? You'd go and you'd find treasure and you'd open up a treasure box and see what you found inside of it. And it was a marketing ploy kind of, so the stuff that you'd find in it would be like a Swig gift card or a Maverick gift card, or, or maybe just a discount to, to Crumble, or, whatever it was, right? There was all these fun things that we did there, and worked with brands. And we ended up getting some huge companies working with us with Seek during that time. I mean, Samsung, Six Flags, Universal Pictures. I mean, big companies did some fun stuff with us then and turned into a real company, right? We made about $1 million with that business model. And then in 2018, a couple years after we started it, we ended up doing a very big pivot. We shut down the app and really went all in on the augmented reality piece and turned that into, we would help companies like IKEA or Walmart or whatever, people that sell furniture and products. And we did, AR for augmented reality for e-commerce, right? So that you could see products in your life before you bought them. And anyway, did that for a while. 2023 sold out, and then started, kind of turned to the next technology, which was AI. And about 6 months ago, made that journey a little bit more official. I was doing a bunch of just consulting under my consulting brand, Flow State, but Gen AI API was born this year, the General AI Proficiency Institute. And it really, I decided to make it more official and take it to a broader audience. Like, I was just working with companies I knew, and I was just kind of word of mouth type stuff. But I started talking to people, just, neighbors where I live, and just everyday people, and just talking to them about their AI usage. And I was just floored at how little people knew, at how, like, and in seeing what AI was doing, it's dangerous if you aren't ready for it. Like, you're going to fall behind. And so I said, okay, I need to help people learn this. I need to be louder about it. I need to talk about it every single day, post about it on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and anywhere people will listen to me. And it's been really fun. It's been really fun working with businesses and really focusing on how can AI help in the workplace, right? How can you really get more done, be more effective at pushing your mission, your vision, your whatever, making more money, all the things that come along with the professional life. How can you use AI to improve that? And so here I am today, and I've worked with hundreds, and I guess maybe probably close to thousands of people now on doing this, and I'm just getting started.
Man, it's so fun. I love hearing what you said, especially within the context of me being a part of your ecosystem already. So this isn't a question that necessarily I asked you to think about beforehand, but I'd love to have a conversation with you around fear. So, and my question is this. So, like, there's, you said, like, it's really borderline dangerous how little people know about AI, because AI is just, like, to quote you from something you said in your class this week, like, it's a tsunami that's coming, like, regardless whether people are keyed in or not. But I also think that, like, fear is like a huge it's a huge tactic that leaders and organizations often use to control behavior, right? Or to get people to do certain things. I think we saw that a lot, like, during the pandemic, right? Fear was like a huge motivator to make people do crazy things in order to just save their lives and save their families, right? And I was talking to a friend last night. I went to the Orem Farmers Market, and I was kind of telling her what some of the things that I learned in your course. And she's an art professor. And I was like, "How are you using AI in your work, or how you teach your classes?" And she was very nervous, because her frame is that AI is removing the human aspect and the creativity, and it's taking artists' jobs away, is like the predominant mindset that was there. So it's very fear-based. So I'm curious from your perspective, because, like, you're in AI with, like, every update that it's happening, you're using it so efficiently, you're using it to just speed up the ability that people can take an idea to market.
Yeah.
Like, how do we navigate this fear, like, or like, how do we transform fear from it's going to take my job to an opportunity? Like what do we do with this fear and ignorance
Yeah.
with AI? Does that make sense, what I'm getting at?
No, it totally does. And I think you nail it with fear and ignorance. Um, if you've ever been, if you ever been, I don't know, like wakeboarding or water skiing, or just pulled in an inner tube behind, a boat in a lake, I'm always terrified. I don't know why. It's a weird, irrational fear. I feel like a shark's going to come up and bite me while I'm sitting there waiting for the boat to start. I'm just sitting there floating, right? I'm ready to go. And I'm not a good water skier or wakeboard or anything, right? But I've done it plenty of times. and I think it's fun. I'm a kayaker, like we said. That's my thing. But I do like water, and I don't know. I don't think there's sharks in rivers, but I do think there are when there's like 70 feet of water beneath me in a lake, and I don't know. I'm worried about it, right? And I think a lot of people are also scared of what? The dark, right? They're scared of things usually that involve the unknown, right? And I think that's where a lot of the fear comes from, right? They just hear these headlines and hear these things or see these things and they don't understand it all the way. And so because of that, they're afraid of it, right? And I think that's rational. I think that's normal human behavior. Like I don't think these people are weird for being afraid of AI. We talked about in the course, I'm also a pianist and composer and AI can outcompose me. It just can. It can write 1,000 songs today while I'm sitting here talking to you easily without breaking a sweat, right? And I can't, right? I have to have breakfast and I have to read my scriptures or I have to get on a podcast or I have to do whatever the things that I do in life, right? I can't just be writing music all the time, but I can program an AI to write a bunch of music. And therefore, how am I going to compete with that, right? And so I think that's a real fear and something that should be paid attention to. But as we also talked about in our course a little bit, I think that there's going to be an increased premium placed on real content made by humans, right? I think that people are going to pay, as we talked about, they're going to pay more to go have a Ruth's Chris experience where it's real people serving you steaks or whatever it is you're ordering there, as opposed to McDonald's, which at some point may be 100% automated with robotics and AI, right? And they both play their role. It's fine, right? The AI generated music plays its role. Some people might like it, but then they're going to say, you know what? I don't want the beat to be perfect, right? I need something that just feels a little bit more natural. Give me some jazz or give me some, Beatles. Let's go back in time a little bit before AI was around. So I think that fear is okay. And fear is also fear and pain. I'm watching this show called Limitless. I think I talked about that yesterday too. I watched the second episode yesterday and it was about pain. And this is Chris Hemsworth and he's trying to become a stronger human. As if he isn't strong enough already, right? Thor. But anyway, he legitimately, is trying to overcome problems that, he masks, he hides. He's had back pain his whole life and he'll be standing there smiling in a picture for, the Avengers or whatever, and he's hurting, right? Anyway, so he's trying to overcome some of those things. But fear and pain and these types of emotions are teachers, right? And motivators, right? They motivate us to get up and figure something out. At least if you want to get rid of the fear. If you want to just keep the fear or keep the pain, don't do anything. Don't let it motivate you. But if you're afraid of something, turn towards it and, like what is it? The cows or the buffalo run towards the storm, right? So they can get through it faster, right? And so turn towards that fear, turn towards that pain and go figure it out because AI ultimately can take you so much farther, so much faster. One other thought that I want to share, and I know I'm talking too much and I want to turn it back over to you, but I love to mountain bike. And there's a lot of mountain bike purists that are so against e-bikes, right? And, they're just like, that's not mountain biking. And actually, I personally believe that e-bikes just allow me to do more. Like there's so many times when I'm on a normal mountain bike and I come up and there's this like offshoot and it like goes up this steep hill and I'm like, man, I wonder what's up there. I don't know. I don't know what's up there. But then all of a sudden I got this e-bike, and the e-bike, by the way, is not like a motorcycle. You don't just push a button and go. It's e-assist, right? And so I still have to pedal, but it then jumps in and assists, and I can go 10 miles an hour up crazy things that I would never be able to go before. So now when I come to that little offshoot, I can just say, I want to go see what's up there. And I zip up. I don't waste any energy and I can come back down. And I keep going. Or I can go 25 miles instead of 16 miles, right? I can just do more. And I still come home. I'm super tired. My legs are burning. I'm sweating like crazy. I got my workout in, but I was able to do so much more. And so I think that's what AI is doing too. It's allowing us to just go further with the same amount of effort. And that's going to turn into so much human advancement.
I love that concept of like it's like an enhancer, right? It's kind of like how athletes are penalized for taking enhancement drugs. Like we have great enhancers to help us think faster, think differently, solve problems faster. I think that was probably one of the biggest takeaways that I had from the course is like it takes away the pressure to like that you have to know everything or figure out everything or even like find a person that you just hope trusts knows everything. I mean, it can give you like find the person that can do this or I can do it for you. You know, like it's like I don't know, it's just like a giant flashlight that's just like figure this out, answer this question, go here. I was really just so blown away by the concepts that were being taught and I'm really excited. Now it's like I need to like carve out time in my life to like actually
I
use
know.
the tool to help it be the enhancement, you know. But yeah, so I love that concept and I really appreciate you speaking into that fear is a natural human emotion and that we have a huge opportunity here as humanity to harness the power that's being unleashed. Okay, so I think one thing that has really struck me about your journey is like you struck me as like someone who's like just very curious and you like to play. And like it's almost like everything you're doing right now with AI is just like it's a giant experiment, right? Like that's how it started. Like when I first met Jon, he was telling me about how like he just like had this concept about how he wanted to start a business in a weekend. And he posted that he was doing this challenge on LinkedIn and he got a bunch of people following his journey. And within a weekend, he launched a completely new business from idea to first corporate user, right? That bought the license to what he was creating. And so there's a lot of like curiosity and play in like how you approach your work. So I'm curious, because AI is a field that's exploding at a rate that we just, with our human capacity, can't even really fathom how fast it's going. What are the benefits of like your curiosity approach to AI, but also like what are some of the constraints that you're facing in terms of like if you're like I don't know if you're like, man, I just can't keep up or like I don't it's too fast or like it's giving me anxiety in this way. I'm really curious to know. So again, the question is like how is your curiosity a strength? And I would love for you to speak into that so people can be more curious instead of fearful. And then also like what are some of the fears and constraints that you're facing as you're going through this journey of being on the cutting edge of
Yeah.
AI?
I'm going to answer that in reverse order, if you don't mind. So I live on a farm in West Mountain, Utah, and I have 5 acres and I've been here about 3 years now. But this is the first time I've had anything more than probably half an acre, right? I guess I lived on a property that had close to an acre before, but I was only there for about a year and a half. We were renting a house and it was beautiful in Alpine. But anyway, I have so many unfinished projects on this farm. Like it's crazy. Like I haven't weeded that spot in a year. I haven't cleaned up that mess over there. And there's this one bed that's just ridiculous. And man, the orchard in the bottom left, like I just know that all those projects are there. And it really stressed me out my first year. Like I just felt like I was always behind. Right. Now, today, I probably have as many projects as I did my first year here that are unfinished. But I've learned to just say, you know what? I can't do it all right now. And that's okay. And I'm okay with that. Right. AI is progressing at a rate that is just unbelievably fast. Moore's law is the kind of idea that every 18 months, technology, your basic technologies improve, right? Processing speed, storage capacity on a hard drive, memory capabilities, things like that. Your basic things that run your computers and your phones and all that stuff, right? And so that's why every year Apple comes out with a new phone and they're like, yeah, we're like 40% better and we're 40% better. And it's just like little iterative improvements. But if you look at it over time, you're like, wow, yeah, that just kind of follows this pattern. About every 18 months, we double in processing and computing capacity. AI is progressing 250 times faster than that, right? Which, when you break it down, it's improving by 10x every 12 months. Okay. And so because it's going so much faster, right? To extrapolate that out, I think it's really interesting just so that you get it in your mind. 3 years time is, that's for Moore's law, doubling every 18 months, right? So that's two doublings, 2x times 2x. That's 4x, right? And so every 3 years, our technology is about 4 times better, right? And that's already amazing. It's incredible to, to look back just 3 years and be like, wow, yeah, our pictures were 4 times worse then. And look another 3 years back and they were 16 times worse, right? Anyway. And so, but if you do that with AI, and this 10x every 12 months, you go ahead 3 years. Well, 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. Go ahead one more year, 10,000. Go ahead one more year, 100,000. Right? So every 5 years, it's increasing its capacity by 100,000x. Again, we can't even understand that. Our brains aren't even capable of understanding that, right?
Why is that? Like, because like the 2x is like it's human pushed advancement, right? So like, but AI, like, why is it so much faster? Can you explain that?
Yeah, there's a bunch of reasons for it. Number one, it's kind of a newer technology, and there's a lot of money being put into it, right? Just a huge amount of money. $500 billion last year alone, right, was by the industry invested into improving AI. And so there's a lot of focus on it. But the other thing where AI has an advantage over every other technology that's ever hit us before, the wheel, the internet, factories, electricity, computers, everything. AI is the first one that can improve itself. That's crazy, right? Being able to consider, okay, AI, we could just sit back as humans and do nothing. Just about, right? You kind of have to turn it on, right? For now. But it can improve itself, right? That's called recursive self-improvement, right? That's where the AI is tasked with, hey, this little piece of your puzzle, work on it, fix it. And then AI just gets to work. And it never sleeps. It never complains. It never talks back. Actually, that's not true. Sometimes it talks back. But that's a different discussion probably for another time. So anyway, yeah, it's just going so fast, right? And so for someone who's curious like me, right, to get to your first part of the question, that's just a playground, right? If it's growing that fast, every day, every single day, I can wake up and look at my X, feed or Instagram or wherever it is that I learn. And I actually just learn on social media. That's where I learn most, right? That's where people are talking about it. Look at all the cool new stuff here, right? But every day there's something where it's like, look at these 10 things that, we've never been able to do before that now we can do, right? Try this program, try this program, try this program. And, like I was saying with the weeds, I can't go try every program. I can't go try every single thing that's out there. It's impossible. But I most certainly can pick and choose the ones that I want, right? If I want to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go work today on my trail that I want to put through my little trees, my mini forest. I've got about 40 trees that are kind of in here, and I'm kind of trying to build a trail through that. So that's just one project that I want to work on, and I'm going to go work on that today. And then tomorrow I'm going to go do this, and today I'm just going to take a break. I'm not going to work on any of it, right? And so just don't be hard on yourself. Being curious should be a fun thing, right? If you love what you do for work, it shouldn't feel like work. And it doesn't feel like work. When I'm getting into these AI things, my mind is just constantly like, whoa, like, wow, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like I was discovering things during the class. I was like, let's try this. Let's see what happens here. And I changed a video from a tornado in the background with a reporter to a volcano in the background with the same reporter, right? And all it did was just, it took that same clip and changed it. And my mind was blown. I was just like, this is so cool. I want to try this more. What else can I do? Right. And so when learning becomes, when you love what you're learning about so much, you just naturally will do it. Right. Like, I don't want to sit here and play a video game. I want to sit here and try cool stuff with AI because it's fun.
That. Are you naturally curious, or is it a learned skill for you? Or both?
Yeah, let me think about that for a second. I think I've always been curious. I think that's just kind of a natural thing. I just want to learn. When I started my company in 2016, I had to raise money because I didn't know how to code. I didn't know how to develop. And so I had to hire really smart, people that were smarter than me, right? That could do all that development work. I'm sorry, I need to plug in my laptop or we're going to, cut this short. But anyway, I would ask my CTOs all the time, like, what do you mean? Right? They'd say something like, hey, we need to do this, this, and this. And I'd be like, why? Help me understand why. What about the architecture? What about the technology? What about our current code isn't working, right? What do we need to do? Is there anything else we can do, right? Is this the best way to do it, right? I'm just curious. I want to know why. I just want to understand why. And I don't know. I think I've been curious about that, whether it's related to my, religious beliefs or my startup or my code, or I play the piano and I want to figure out, hey, why does this, when I'm listening to John Williams do this thing, like, hey, what is that sound? What are those chords? What's that chord progression? Like, holy cow, that's just like a C to a D7. I had no idea that was that cool. Anyway, and so I like understanding why, because when I understand why, then I can recreate it. I can then use it in my life for an advantage. Once I understand why John Williams does this cool modulation, hey, now I understand why Jurassic Park sounds so cool. And I found that same progression in E.T. And I found it also over here in this movie and that movie. And it's just one of his signature sounds. And so now if I want something that's really cool that just kind of adds a little bit of flavor to anything, whether I'm playing a special musical number in church or whatever, I can put my own cool stuff and people in the audience go, oh, yeah, it's nice. Right. And I learned it because I was curious to go figure out why. Why did that make me feel that way? I want to be able to do that. So I don't know.
I love that. So if you had to make a list of like the human attributes that give us the biggest advantage in terms of like lassoing AI for our advantage instead of it just being like a truck that just hits us at 90 miles an hour, and maybe both are just what's going to happen. We are going to get hit by the truck, but we can also lasso it. Like,
For
what
sure.
would you say are the human attributes that are necessary to surf the tsunami of AI?
Well, you nailed one, curiosity for sure. We need to be curious, and it is fun, right? When you get in there, anybody will have fun with AI. And I think part of the reason is the main human attribute that I am a big fan of, and I'm actually working on a whole new, if you go to joncheney.com right now, it's just my music website. But if you go there in a couple months when I launch my new site, it's going to be so awesome, so different. It's going to have my music still, but that'll just be one section. But it's all about creation. That's my message to the world. I believe that creation is humanity's core superpower, right? And everybody can create. We all create different things. My wife creates amazing food in the kitchen. She's so freaking good. She's such a good chef. And she creates these amazing gardens on our farm. And by the way, I can't do either of those. I'm okay on a grill with some meat. You give me some meat, I'm okay. But once you get into the other things, my wife blows me out of the water. And so she creates well with those things. I create well on the piano, right? I don't create well if you get out the coloring pencils. I'm terrible at drawing, right? I'm terrible at singing. I'm terrible at dancing, right? We all have our own creation, creative outlets, right? But we are all creators. Humans can create art, can create music, can create the gardens, can create memories, can even have said this. Humans create humans. We can create humans. We can create life. We have this incredible, like, almost heavenly gift, or maybe not almost, maybe actually heavenly gift of being able to create, to be able to speak and create and to type and create. I mean, and AI allows us to do that now. We can speak and type and create things that we couldn't do before. Now we can create software. We can create unbelievable images. I said I can't do art. I can with AI, right? With all of the amazing tools that are out there, I can now create art. I can create marketing materials. I can create videos that are incredible. I can create music like we talked about earlier. And so again, just like the battery assisted mountain bike that allows us to just go farther, faster, right? We can now create farther and faster, right? When I want to put together a new piano album, I have, my pianos here in my house, and I've got a beautiful grand piano in the other room, but then I have my digital pianos here, and then I've got my studio, and I have the ability with all these tools to create stuff that used to take me going into a studio and spending thousands of dollars for technicians and then mastering and all these things and production and all this stuff. I can now do it all by myself here. Right. And that's cool, right? Creating and enjoying that creation process, I think is fun. And I want all the listeners to just think for a second. Just imagine all the things that you create, right? Whether you're creating memories or creating music or art or humans or whatever it is you're creating, and try to think to those experiences of creating. And then try to think of an experience where you were creating, where you weren't having fun, where you weren't enjoying that. And for me, that's hard to think of. I enjoy creating, and I believe that everybody else does too, right? You might be an author and you're creating, right? You might be a therapist. You're creating healing pathways, right? You're doing things. Creation is something that makes the world a better place. And so one of the critical things we have to do is not let AI take that from us. We can't let AI take the creation process. We have to make sure that we learn it and we work with it so that we can stay in charge of that creation process and stay involved in that. If we just let AI take over creating art for the world, that's a sad world to live in.
That's so curiosity and creativity. I love that. So,
Yeah.
so good. So good. Okay. So I have gotten a very similar response to like this little story that I've told multiple times, and I would love to know how you would respond to the response of the story. So this is it. So we're recording right now in a platform called Riverside, right? Which is just so cool. It is like steeped with so much tech and AI abilities. And when I first started my podcast in 2019, I recorded my podcast in Zoom and I had to send the audio file to my audio editor, the video file to my video editor, the transcript to my copywriter. My project manager managed all of these elements, and we created from like one podcast, like anywhere from 20 to 60 pieces of content based on like what our goal was. That was sized appropriately for the different social channels. The captions were written appropriately based on the social channels. Also delivered assets to the guests so that they could use them on their social channels. It's just a massive workflow, massive workflow. And my podcast, when it first started, it built up to a point where it was $8,000 a month to produce everything that we were producing. Just astronomical. It was like the most expensive hobby I've ever done. It was fun, but it was like so expensive. So now in this Riverside, and Riverside is a new platform for me that I just started using this year, and I'm absolutely floored by its capacity because now all of the audio editing you can do with the click of one button that just enhances the audios, and it's called Magic Audio. You literally click a button and it's like it's balanced, it's equalized, it's all the background, any static of like air conditioner gone. You can edit the video the transcript is created automatically, so you don't have to like create this SRT file and download it and blah blah blah. And you can edit the video from the transcript. So if I was to cut out a line, like how I messed up your intro a little bit, I just cut that out. Videos change just like that. I can add captions. I don't have to go to like a graphic designer. So the capacity is just phenomenal. And I forget what Riverside's monthly subscription fee is. I don't know. Let's just say it's like $20 a month. So I
It's
went
not
from like,
8,000.
say what?
It's not 8,000.
Correct. So I went from like an $8,000 5-person process to a $20 a month subscription that a tech VA can come and it pulls out from the full clip, it pulls out little 45-second clips that are designed to do well on social media. So like it's pulling different sentences and putting a clip together and changing angles. I mean, it's insane. Like what this one little platform is capable of. And the human just has to go click, 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 pull, 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 send, send, send. And that's it. So so anytime I tell someone this story, like literally 9 times out of 10, their response is, man, that replaced a lot of jobs. Like now what's happening to your video editor, your audio editor, your copywriter, your project manager, your social media manager? And I don't like, for me, it's very exciting, but like, I really don't have a great, like, it almost feels like I'm an evil person almost like for like displacing all of because that's like the impression, right? So I want to know like how you respond to that. Like when someone says, well, what about all these jobs that like just got lost because Riverside created this powerful platform? Like, I would love to hear from your perspective, like, what is the response to that? But also like, what is the response to the people where their industries are just being decimated?
Yeah. I also empathize with these people and sympathize with them. My first thought is now they can go do something important. And I know that might seem a little harsh, like what they were doing before wasn't important, or, what are you saying, right? But really, how much value are you creating in the world by sitting there and like tweaking an audio file? And how much value were you really giving the world in cutting up a video, right? It's not that they're not doing good. They are doing good. They're helping you, and because they're working with you and they're adding value, and you pay them money, right? That's an exchange of value there, and it's totally valid. But man, are we meant to just, data entry and move numbers from one platform to another? Is that the purpose of humanity? Are we meant to just flip a burger repeatedly all day? I don't think so. I personally don't believe so. I feel like we're meant to serve others and connect with others and create, right? And I know some of this is part of creation for sure, but it's not the valuable part of creation. It's the tedious part of creation. And what AI and technology, Riverside, whatever, these different systems are doing is they're freeing us from the mundane. They're taking these repetitive, a monkey can do it tasks, right? Doesn't take a lot of brain power, is what I mean by that, right? Like the person that's helping you cut up this audio or cut up this transcript or cut up this video, I bet they're using like 2%, if that, of their actual capacity to do good in the world. Right. And so let's let robots do that crap. Right. Like, who cares about that? It's not about, oh, that job is gone. It's about what are you now doing with your free time that you now have to go find something that's more impactful in the world. Right. Let's go help people get clean water and put roofs over everybody's heads and let's help them, let's go serve people. Let's go do things that with the people are going to be like, man, thank you so much. Right. Nobody's saying thank you so much for that data entry. Nobody is. It's not happening. Right. And so um, we're just shifting. We're shifting upwards. I want that to be really clear to everybody. AI feels like, oh, it's going to take our jobs. No, it's not. It's going to take the mundane and the repetitive and the things that computers can do and let it just do it. And we get to then say, okay, what does it really mean to be human? Is it really just sitting there moving numbers, or is there more that we're meant to do?
So good. Well, and I love how you even made a distinction of like the value part of creation versus like the mundane tasks of like the workflow that does need to happen to turn an idea into reality. So good. So good. I love that. I love that, Jon. Okay, so talk to us for a little bit about where do you want to take Gen AI PI? Like what's the dream, the goal? Why? What's your why?
Yeah. I really love entrepreneurs. Having been one and struggled as one and cried as one and celebrated as one, right? It's not all bad, right? And there's lots of good, lots of bad, whatever. But entrepreneurship is, again, another part of, creation. We create businesses, we create jobs, we create opportunities. And I feel like AI just has this incredibly outsized impact on entrepreneurs specifically, right? And let me talk about what that means. I think that an entrepreneur can be sped up in the creation of a business and the launching of a business and turning an idea into an income that supports your family. I think it increases the speed of that by somewhere between 10 to 50x, right? Which is crazy. 1,000% to 5,000% increase, right? It used to take months or years to take an idea from nothing to say, I have my first customer. And now I've done it in a weekend. And I know other people have too. I am not the only one. I've read many stories over the last, few months of people using AI to just launch and have money just boom, it's just coming, right? Now it still takes work, right? In a weekend, that wasn't like, oh, yeah, I went to the movies and I did this. No, I worked from like 8 a.m. to midnight every day for 3 days straight. So it was like 40, 50 hours of work, but just condensed into 3 days. And then, customers the following Tuesday, right? I started Thursday, first customer on Tuesday. And that's crazy, right? And so I really, really love the freeing and the opportunity, creation there, right? And so I want Gen AI PI to help people be able to do whatever they want, right? Whether it's start a new restaurant or launch a tech company or launch a new social network that, doesn't have mean people on it. I don't know if that's possible, but whatever it is they're trying to do or want to do, they can do it now. And they're not constrained by time or money, right? It used to take, so for Gen AI API, again, I raised tens of millions of dollars. I've done this. I've raised money. I've gone out and hired people and built businesses and gotten the customers and worked with the biggest companies in the world, right? Google was my customer. So was Meta and Lego and Nestle and Walmart. I've worked with, I know how freaking hard it is to build a business. It just is so hard. And it takes a huge amount of money. And by the way, I had to go raise money from others, which made me a slave to those investors, right? I couldn't just be like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, because I had made a commitment to help get them a return. And I can't just be like, you know, guys, I'm just going to shut up shop because, you know, I just want to go surfing. I want to go surf for the next year. I want to take my family and move to Costa Rica. You know, I couldn't make that decision. And so I was trapped, and I didn't like that. With AI, I was able to launch, so Gen AI API, had I launched it, you know, pre-AI in the way that I launched Seek, it would have cost me $3.2 million and taken me a year and a half to launch. Okay. Based on the amount of code and, you know, all the different things that had to be built, the curriculum, the testing, everything, like all of the stuff that I built would have taken a year and a half. And when you bring in the cost of all the development, the cost of leadership, cost of marketing, the cost of sales, the cost of all the software and hosting and AWS bills, all those things, $3.2 million. I was able to do it in 3 days for less than $400. Okay. So let's pull out the calculator right here and just do a simple calculation. We'll go 400 divided by $3.2 million equals. All right. So I was able to do something with it because of AI for 0.0125% of the cost, right? Right. Which, if you subtract one from that to make that more clear, maybe it was 99.9875% cheaper. And I did it in 3 days versus, what's 365 times 2? 730. So 3 divided by 730 minus 1. I did it in 99.58% less time. Those are big changes, right? 99.6 to 99.9% faster and cheaper to start a business now for anyone in the world that wants to do it. That is going to change the world. That is an opportunity to change the world. And so what do I want to do with Gen AI API? I want to sing that from the rooftops, right? There is so much opportunity right now, more than there has ever been in the history of mankind. Anybody can do anything now. I said in the class yesterday, kind of jokingly, but also half serious, if I wanted to build a nuclear reactor in my backyard, I could do it. Other than the fact that I don't know where to get, you know, uranium or whatever I would need for that. And probably tons of other things to make that happen. I don't know how to build a nuclear reactor, but AI does. AI knows, okay, step one, we're going to need a foundation, and this foundation is going to have to be this big. And I'm going to be like, okay, maybe 5 acres isn't enough. But anyway, bottom line is I can do anything. If I want to build a piano, I could do it. I don't know how to build a piano. I've played a piano my whole life, but I don't know how to build one. But if I really wanted to, they'd be like, okay, great. You're going to need a big piece of wood. Let's go start there. And then you're going to need a bunch of little small things. You're going to need this type of material for this. And you're going to need to cut it in these shapes. And it's not going to be a Steinway, but I bet you I could make something that makes noise, right? That operates. I bet I could build. I know they're very, very complex. The number of parts that are inside each little note that works that action is actually pretty complex. And so it might be pretty hard. But I bet you I could do it. I bet you I could do it without having, and this is the thing that's really interesting and maybe just a little bit, I don't know, just interesting to think about. I don't know if scary is the right word, but I don't even have to turn to a piano making expert to do it. I can do it on my own with a resource that costs me $20 a month. ChatGPT. ChatGPT could help me build a piano. It absolutely could. And that is very freeing. Now, the cool thing is, building software that's even very complex. Like if you wanted to build the next Facebook or something, you can do that in a weekend now. Software, AI is very good at code. It can do that now.
It's amazing. It's incredible. Well, I'm excited to be a part of your story, and I'm excited to bring others in because I think what you're doing is amazing. And I've seen, you know, because I'm an advertiser, like I pay attention to like what's going on, right? And there is a course for everything AI, whether it's to start an arbitrage business or how to be a good prompter or blah 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 whatever. And it's been, and I've bought several things that have been kind of disappointing, to be honest. And yours was the first one that was like really just mind blowing for me and like really taught AI on like a principle based level to like understand the core of like how to use what tools for what and what's possible and how to use AI to fill in the holes of what you don't know and even help you ask the questions that you should be asking that you don't even know that you should be asking. And so, yeah, I'm really excited for Gen AI PI and what it's doing and for you to be the voice and the leader in that area. And I'm just really excited for you and excited for what's coming. And again, just thank you for what you gave me this week in the course. It really was remarkable.
Well, really excited to have you as well, Lisanne. You asked great questions during the course and made the entire cohort of people smarter because of your questions. So really, really great to meet you and to have you in that course. And obviously today's been fun.
Yeah, I love it. Well, so give us the details. Where can people find you? How do they follow your journey?
Yeah. So, I mean, you can look me up. My handle on most platforms is at Chaney Piano. So if you'll find me on X, I post occasionally on X, maybe few times a week, but I'm every day posting on Facebook and Instagram, occasionally on TikTok when I have something fun to show on there. And then on LinkedIn, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. Just look me up, Jon Cheney, and you should find me. Just look for Gen AIPI. I don't look for a funny guy with like mountain behind him. Um, look for my face. And anyway, you can also, like I said, you can find me at joncheney.com. That's my piano music, right? So if you're a pianist and that's your thing, that's great. I sell sheet music and stuff like that, and I even have some free music on there so that you can just kind of try out and see what I do. But or you can also listen to my music if you want, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever your preferred streaming platform is. So I'm all over the place. I'm very active. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and for you entrepreneurs out there listening, I talked about this a lot in our course, or at least very passionately for a few minutes. If you want people to know what you're doing, you got to tell them. Right. And it's that simple, right? Get on social and say it's free. It's free marketing. You have a tool, a platform where you can get in front of millions of people, or at the very least, when you're first starting, hundreds of people and say, hey, this is what I'm doing for my business. I'm launching this new thing, right? Anybody out there interested in this? And ask that often, talk about your stuff. And so I do that a lot. I post a lot so that I can tell people what I'm doing. And then that brings awesome people like Lisanne into my life where, she obviously participated in something I was offering, and I'm now participating in something she's offering, right? And that was simply because we decided to open our mouths. So I would love for you guys to come and follow me and connect and message me, and let's work together and do fun stuff together and, hopefully create together.
I love it. Awesome. Well, Jon, thank you so much for bringing your mind and your heart and your experience and just being a huge asset for all the listeners on the Marketing Matrix today.
My pleasure, Lisanne. Thanks so much.